Check underneath the table. Sasha's voice pierced the air, carrying with it a palpable fear that set my heart racing. The beads of sweat on my forehead were a testament to the nervous tension that had taken hold of me. With a deep breath, I steeled myself and forced my trembling legs to carry me towards the source of our distress. The table, now moving on its own, seemed to defy the laws of nature. As I approached it, an invisible force tugged at me, as though some supernatural power was determined to keep me away. Goosebumps prickled along my skin, and an icy shiver slithered down my spine, sending a wave of unease through me. The air felt charged with an otherworldly energy, a feeling I couldn't quite comprehend. Summoning all the courage within me, I reached out and gripped the edge of the white sheet draped over the table. My fingers trembled as I pulled it away, revealing the horrifying scene beneath. Sasha's anguished gasp cut through the silence, and tears streamed down her cheeks. A severed cow's head lay, surrounded by a pool of blood that seemed to defy explanation. The sight was grotesque and surreal, a stark contrast to the relatively mundane world we thought we knew. Sasha's insistence on exploring the abandoned old age home had struck me as a bad idea from the start. I had tried persuading her against it, pointing out the eerie aura that surrounded the place, but she was unyielding in her determination, driven by the need to create a documentary that would secure her scholarship. As her elder brother, I couldn't let her venture into the unknown alone. It was a huge mansion with high walls and an extensive front lawn. In the days it was inhabited, it had a pretty royal feel to it. The front door was 10 feet tall and was made out of oak wood. The walls were a color palette of white and blue, and the lawn was neatly mowed with exotic flowers planted at its boundaries. The mansion, once a place of grandeur, now stood as a somber testament to its tragic past. It had been an old age home where neglectful children abandoned their elderly parents, leaving them to spend their final days in desolation. The opulence had faded, replaced by the decay of time and the scars of a catastrophic fire that had claimed 16 lives. The building's charred remains painted a haunting picture, and I couldn't shake the feeling that we were intruding upon a place where anguish and sorrow still lingered. Standing before the imposing structure, a knot of apprehension tightened in my stomach. The air was heavy with an unexplainable tension, and the wind seemed to carry whispers of the past. Sasha's objective was to create a documentary that would capture the essence of this haunting place. But it was clear that something else was at play. Maybe I'm overthinking it, I thought to myself. But the thought would soon vanish as reality crashed down upon us. The bloodied hand emerging from the ground, gripping Sasha's leg, was a jarring wake-up call. Panic surged through me, and I reacted instinctively. Pushing her away from the mysterious appendage, she tumbled to the ground, and I barely managed to shield her head from the unforgiving pavement. In that heart-stopping moment, it felt as though an unseen malevolence was attempting to claim Sasha. Her shaking form and vacant eyes gave me a glimpse into a reality that defied explanation. But just as quickly as the darkness had taken hold, she returned to consciousness, her nose bloodied from the impact. "We need to go back," I pleaded urgently, the gravity of the situation overpowering any concern for the scholarship documentary. "I don't care about your stupid documentary," I implored, desperately, wanting her to understand the danger we were facing. Confusion clouded her expression as she struggled to grasp the events that had unfolded. "What are you talking about? I'm fine. Nothing's happened," she insisted, her memory a blank canvas. As we stood there, the boundary between the rational and the inexplicable blurred. Whatever force had tried to ensnare Sasha beneath the ground had retreated, leaving us with an unsettling truth. Our journey into the abandoned old age home had unveiled a realm of the supernatural that defied the realms of logic and reason. Despite the horrifying event, Sasha moved towards the building indifferently. This can't be happening, I thought to myself. I was taken aback by the recent events, and seeing Sasha continue on her path like that was unsettling. The darkness within the mansion seemed to possess a tangible weight, devouring the feeble illumination of the single flashlight we had brought. Its beam struggled valiantly against the shadows, revealing only fleeting glimpses of the surroundings. Sasha's command broke through the silence, instructing me to aim the flashlight towards the grand staircase. Her camera poised, she was ready to capture the image that might encapsulate the haunting essence of this forsaken place. With my heart pounding in my chest, I directed the flashlight's beam towards the staircase. The light danced along the steps, revealing the intricate details of its architecture, now marred by the passage of time. Sasha's figure, silhouette against the darkness, was starkly contrasted by the illuminated stairs. She was ready to immortalize this moment. Click! The sound of the camera's shutter echoed through the quiet hall, reverberating like a signal to the hidden forces that seemed to linger within the mansion's depths. But it was the subsequent burst of light that followed the click that sent a shockwave through my senses. My vision was temporarily blinded as the flash washed over us. That blinding moment, my surroundings seemed to shift, reality itself warping and bending. The air grew thick with an unnatural presence, and as my vision slowly adjusted, the true nature of the phenomenon became horrifyingly clear. Before us, a spectral congregation had materialized. Figures dressed in ethereal white surrounded us, their faces obscured by the pale fabric that draped their forms. They numbered in the hundreds. A ghostly assembly suspended between the realms of the living and the dead. Time itself seemed to stand still as the apparitions hovered before Sasha's camera, their expressions hidden in the shroud of their garments. The sight was both breathtaking and terrifying, an otherworldly spectacle that defied any explanation. And then, just as abruptly as they had appeared, the figures dissolved back into the darkness, retreating from both our sight and the camera's lens. The world around us returned to its sinister stillness, as if the supernatural interlude had never occurred. Stunned silence hung in the air as the echoes of the apparition's presence faded away. Sasha slowly lowered her camera, her face a mixture of shock and wonder, mirroring my own astonishment. The mansion, once a mere backdrop for a documentary, had transformed into a stage for the inexplicable. The boundary between the mundane and the supernatural had been shattered, leaving us both suspended in a state of disbelief. As the weight of the encounter settled upon us, we exchanged a wordless glance, acknowledging the profound impact of what we had just witnessed. The mansion, with its tragic history and unsettling aura, had unleashed forces beyond our understanding, forces that defied logic and rationality. Tentatively, we backed away from the grand staircase, our retreat fueled by a mixture of fear and awe. The once prominent structure now seemed to emanate an even stronger aura of foreboding, as if the very walls were whispering tales of the past, the air, heavy with the residue of the supernatural encounter, felt charged with an energy we couldn't comprehend. As we stepped back into the light of day, the mansion's eerie presence began to fade, replaced by a mix of relief and uncertainty. The memories of the severed cow's head, the bloodied hand emerging from the ground, and the ethereal congregation would forever be etched in our minds. Our perception of reality had been shaken, and we were left with a haunting realization that the world was far more mysterious and enigmatic than we had ever dared to imagine. Days turned into weeks, and our lives began to return to some semblance of normalcy. But the memory of the mansion's supernatural secrets remained with us, a reminder that some truths were beyond comprehension. Sasha's documentary, which had initially been driven by the pursuit of a scholarship, took on a deeper meaning. It became a testament to the unseen forces that lurked in the shadows, record of the unexplainable that defied the confines of our understanding. The events of that day forever bound Sasha and me in a shared understanding, a bond forged through the inexplicable. As we walked our separate paths, we carried with us the weight of that encounter, a reminder that the mysteries of the world could never truly be unraveled. And so we ventured forth, forever changed by our journey into the abandoned old age home, where the line between the living and the supernatural had blurred, and where the echoes of the past lingered in the present, shattering our perceptions and leaving us forever haunted by the unknown.